Rishabh Pandey.
And we are from
Go India!
Most people raise hands who would like to be the part of the Earth Jam.
So don't you think it should be upon us to make the change?
प्लास्टिक से होने वाली समस्या समय के साथ गंभीर होती जा रही है.
You will have to collect the plastics what you have accumulated in your house and your neighbor's house and your neighbor's neighbor houses. So when I ask you this question, what can you do?
Plastics from every corner of this country and make sure that the country is clean.
We will train you so that you can train. Who will you train? You will train, number one, your parents. You will not only train your parents, you will train your friends' parents. You will train your mates. You have to go to the society's shop and make sure that they stop using plastic.
No, not only a single person should contribute to reduce plastic, but we all have to work like a to reduce plastic.
So India because it's like we're drowning in plastic. So it has created a lot of junk in the environment and has also costed marine life.
The earth is in danger and we're supposed to save it, so we should recycle plastic.
So who are the Earth Jam?
Hello, good afternoon all. Am I audible? Can you just give me a thumbs up if I'm audible? Hello? Yes. Okay, I can see a few thumbs up comment. Good afternoon all. Myself, Yasin Munir from Pro India, welcomes you all to this webinar on Do You Fall Under the New E-Waste Rules 2023. We have our speaker of the day, the CEO and founder of Pro India, Mr. Amit Saha, joining us today. We also have the team of Pro India at the back end of the webinar who will be assisting you with answering all these questions that you will be posting us today. The first few minutes of the webinar will be to this discussion on e-waste, and towards the last we'll have some poll session, question and answer session, where you can ask Mr. Amit Saha the doubts, queries you have related. I would like to request Mr. Amit Saha to engage with the companies.
Okay, thanks, Yasin. Hi, everyone. Sorry for a little late start, and welcome to this webinar. This is the webinar where we are trying to address questions specific to you and your organization related to e-waste applicability. Many of you, as we have seen and noticed, and that's why we have given invites, may fall under e-waste rules, but may not know that specifically. So things like even if you are a bulk consumer of several electronic categories as a company, you still have to make registrations and make yourself known to CPCB on the portal. If you are buying electronic products from outside the country as a company, you have to register. If you are just reselling products in India, you have to. If you're buying second-hand products from a different country, again, you may have to register under e-waste rules. So e-waste rules is something which has a very wide applicability, and then there are penalties related to the same. So it was thought that it is a good idea to let everyone know ahead of time that there is this rule which is now on CPCB portal. It is all transparent, it is mandatory, it is visible, and then if there are any certain requirements which where we can help you in registration or in completion or execution of e-waste, we'll be too happy to do so. We also had done a webinar about 2 weeks ago on e-waste applicability, and there we had almost 250 people trying to come in, and we have a limitation on this webinar to only accommodate 100 people. So we thought that we will do one more similar application webinar, which the ones who have not attended could attend. And if you have already attended the previous one, then you don't need to worry too much about it. And if you have got all your clarifications, again, you don't need to worry too much about the same. There is a website we will talk to you and show you and lead you to the same, where not only the previous all the rules are mentioned, the applications are mentioned, SOPs are mentioned, FAQs are mentioned, but also the last webinar is embedded there, including the presentation which was shared in the last webinar. So we can send you that link, and you can watch it at your own time, or you can forward it to teams which are taking care of environment, health, safety, sustainability in your organizations. With this, I will request Yasin to begin the presentation of a short presentation which he has prepared for this webinar. So Yasin, would you like to start? Go ahead, Yasin.
Yes, sir. So is the slide visible?
Yes, it is.
Okay, sir. The PPT on e-waste management. So before we start, let's look into what this Proindia company does. So Proindia is a 5-year-old end-to-end waste management firm, helping companies fulfill their EPR in areas of plastic waste, e-waste, and battery waste. With in-house industry experts and a pan-India network of recyclers, we are your all-in-one sustainability partners. Coming to the table of contents. So the table of contents in this PPT includes what is e-waste. So this gives basically a definition on what is e-waste actually mean and what it covers. The second is categories of electrical and electronic equipments. So as defined by the CPCB, there are mainly 7 types of main categories and 106 subcategories. We'll be going through in the coming slides. Am I a producer? What are the main 4 points that is included in the producer? E-waste recycling targets, requirements by the CPCB, what are the documents, what are things required by a producer to register for in the CPCB portal, as well as the roadmap from the starting to end. Going with the definition of e-waste. E-waste, short for electronic waste, refers to any discarded electrical or electronic devices that have reached their end of their useful life or are no longer needed by their owners. This category of waste encompasses a wide range of items, including old computers, laptops, smartphones, tablets, televisions, refrigerators, washing machines, and other electronic appliances. Let's look at some statistics. India is the third largest generator of e-waste in this world after China and US. The country generated an estimate of 3.2 million metric tons of e-waste in 2020-21. Only about 30% of the e-waste in India is recycled in an environmentally sound manner. The government of India has taken some steps to address the problem of e-waste, including the e-waste rules of 2011. At Pro India, we have done an analysis of some of the statistics. So one of them is, amidst the booming electronic sector in India, a surprising revelation emerges. 20% of the registered electronic companies listed with the CPCB as plastic producers have not yet embraced their responsibilities as e-waste producers on the CPCB portal. So what this basically means is that there is a CPCB portal for plastic waste. Imagine if 100 producers have registered on the plastic website as a plastic producer, in that only 20% of them have not registered in the electronic waste. Imagine if 100 companies from the electronic sector, like Samsung, LG, Panasonic, that belongs in the electronic sector, have registered, 100 of them have registered in the plastic EPR. In that, if it comes to the electronic waste EPR, only 20% have not yet registered. So if, as a scenario goes, if this is the scenario with the electronic industry, one can only imagine the potential case of non-compliance across other sectors. It underscores the urgent need for higher awareness and unified action to address the environmental challenges posed by e-waste, ensuring a sustainable future for our nation. Categories of electrical and electronic equipment given by CPCB. So as said, there are mainly 7 main categories and 106 subcategories. So the first main category is information technology and telecommunication equipment. In these main categories, there are a lot of subcategories. Examples of these subcategories include personal computers, printers, telephones, and scanners. And each subcategory has a code like ITEW. It starts from ITEW1 and goes till ITEW27. The second main category is consumers, electrical and electronics, and photovoltaic panels. The code for them is, it starts from CEW1 to CEW19. The examples in this main category includes refrigerator, washing machines, video recorders, and audio amplifiers. The third main category is large and small electrical and electronic equipment. The subcategory code is LSEEW1 till LSEEW34. The examples of this main category includes large cooling appliances, electric cookers, electric fans, and vacuum cleaners. The fourth main category is electrical and electronic tools. The code for this subcategory starts from EETW1 till EETW8. Examples includes drills, sewing machines, tools for welding, soldering, or similar use. The fifth main category is toys, leisure, and sports equipment. Their subcategory has this code of TLSE W1 till TLSE W6. So mainly 6 subcategories. Examples include electrical trains or car racing sets, handheld video games consoles, and coin slot machines. Then we have medical devices, which is 6 main category, and we have 10 subcategories for them, MTW1 till MTW10. Examples include radiotherapy equipments and accessories, dialysis equipment and accessories, analyzer and accessories. And the last main category is laboratory instruments, and we have only 2 subcategories for them, LIW1 and LIW2. Examples include gas analyzer, equipments having electrical and electronic component, and there are some other electrical and electronic components that doesn't fall under these 7 categories, and Amit sir will explain more about this.
Okay, Yasin.
Hello. Yes.
Thanks, Yasin. So this is just the starting, and at the starting, I would with whatever has been explained to you so far in the categories. Let me ask you. Just put this here. Just leave this slide, Yasin. Yeah, just leave this slide. I just want to have a quick poll of asking you just to from whatever you understood so far in 5 minutes of Yasin's speaking, do you think you fall under e-waste rules? So I would like to hear from everyone on this team, everyone. So we have 39 people attending this webinar. So I would like to really understand from everyone whether you think you fall or you don't think you fall. If you say you don't fall, it's fine. Just let me know whether what do you think. I'll give you 10 more seconds, please. It's just a simple question, and I'm not going to hold you responsible for the same. So please go ahead and type from what you think, yes or no. Everyone has to do so, please. There are 40 people, and we got 20 responses so far. It's a simple question, please. So just can you please respond? We're not even asking your name of the company, name of yourself, nothing. We're just asking you to respond if you think you are responsible or not. Okay, last 5 seconds. Anyone? Okay, so 95% of people think that they fall under e-waste rules. Okay, which means that there are others who think that they are not falling under e-waste rules. And people who are thinking that they are not falling under e-waste rules, I'm sure when they were coming into this conference, you must have come with some agenda. So if you could write on the question in the question box, there is a question answer session. If you could write there as to why you think that you are not falling under e-waste rules. Meanwhile, I will just post one more question here and in the poll, and this is specifically to this is specific to everyone. What just tick the relevant. Just tick the relevant statements here. Just tick the relevant statements here. Just tick the relevant statements which are in front of your screen. That there are 5 statements. You can tick any one of them. You can tick multiple of them also. And it says the first statement says that we import electronic items into the country, used or new, but you import electronic items into the country. Second statement is we produce electronic items. And third statement is we sell electronic items in the country. Or fourth item is we are resellers or recyclers of electronic items, and therefore we are not a brand. And the last one is we are none of the above. So we are not any of these 4 statements which are mentioned above. We are none of those same. again, I'm requesting you, no, at least put one relevant tick mark. It can be that you are none of the above. That's fine, because maybe you are just trying to understand e-waste rules, and therefore you are not an organization, not a company, whatever. It's all fine. But can you please quickly choose one of the statements, or more than one, but at least tick one of the statements? Still am waiting for some of you to clear off, because I this time we have got only 13 responses. Last time we got 23 responses. So can you please take half a minute and mention that? Is it coming? Is the poll coming to you? Can you give a thumbs up if the poll is coming to you? You are able to see it on your screen. Can you put a thumbs up if you're able to see it on the screen? Okay, so you are able to see it on the screen. So that's very nice. Thank you so much. Are you able to? Are you not sure of any of these questions? I mean, you can put in the chat box if you are not sure of the question, or therefore it's little early. Okay, so there are now there are some 26 people who have signed off, and out of that, 7 out of 26 have said that we import electronic items. One says we produce, and one says that we sell. And then there are 3 who say that we are recyclers, and there are 16 who say we are none of the above. Okay, so I've just published the results. Hopefully you are able to see it on your screen. If you are able to see the published results on the screen, can you just put a thumbs up? Because I can't see it, I think, because I'm a presenter. Okay, so some of you can see it. Right. All right. Good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen now and take you through the link where you can find all such information, and we'll have a very quick check on related to e-waste directly. So I'm just 1 minute, okay? Is there a link, Yasin, on e-waste?
Yes, sir. I'm sharing you.
I found it. Thank you. Thank you. I found it. So I'm just sharing now.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So this is the place where you'll find all this information. I'm just adding it here. Again, I'm putting it in the chat box for you. But I'm also showing it directly. So I'm just showing the screen here, which says proindia.net / e-waste. And I mean, this is the home page, but I'll come to the home page later. This is all about e-waste. So if you save this link, you can not only understand all these rules that we are going to talk about. We will see the rules, e-waste rules. We'll see applicability, non-applicability. We'll talk about SOP for producers, recyclers, and then lifespan of the products and basis which the EPR targets come. And we'll also quickly see the portal as to how the portal behaves and how the data has to be put together. So the rule is all here, and so that this is the rule I'm going to click to. But I'm just going to finish up the page where you can see that there was on 3rd of this month we had a webinar, a very large gathering of 100 people, and the entire recording of that webinar, including the 20 minutes of question and answer session, is also there, linked in, embedded into this place, and also is the entire presentation. So if you see the presentation of today, what Yasin is sharing, you can see the presentation directly here on the screen itself. So you can see all of that right here. And finally, there is a consultation, which is one-to-one consultation, which you would, in case you like us to help you with your organization in terms of EPR registration, or even if you would like to have a further discussion to know whether applicability is there for your specific organization or not. This is completely free, and you can use this link to join in. Okay. We also, as Yasin mentioned, we also are into uh, the EPR for plastic waste. We are in ESG, we are in social impact, and also consulting. So I'm not going to take you through all of that, but the website is right here. You can see a lot about the website in terms of EPR, innovation, ESG, consulting, and advocacy. And I'm not going to take all of your time in the other areas. We are just going to stick to e-waste itself. So coming back to the e-waste, I'll go directly into the e-waste rules, which was released last year. I think November. Yeah, so 2nd November, and finally the CPCB portal has been created, where the entire thing is now in electronic format now. So you can see the English version. So I've moved into the English version of the same, and you can see that the rule has been there from 2nd November onwards, last year 2nd November onwards. That doesn't mean that the rule was not there for e-waste. The e-waste rule has been there from 2012, but it was mostly on the paper based. This time it is now modulated and created finally and put it onto the CPCB portal itself. So there are certain definitions. So if you can see that there is definition like bulk consumer, so you have to be even if you are a consumer, a bulk consumer of 1,000 products that you use it in your factory or your establishment company, you still have to register yourself, and there is a process for the same. Yasin will talk about at the end. Then it talks about components, consumables, dismantler, recycler, and end of life. So there's a lot of definitions here. I'll come to the most important definition, which is called producer. So I'm just highlighting this in this 4 statements. What does a producer mean? Producer means anyone who manufactures and offers to sell the electrical electronic items and their components or consumables or parts or spares under its own brand. This is the first definition of producer, but it also includes the second definition, which is offers to sell under its own brand assembled electrical electronic equipment and their components, consumables or parts or spare parts produced by other manufacturers. So there is a difference between producer and a manufacturer. It's safe to say that if you are aware of plastic waste rules, in this case, producer means brand owner, from which the final product is going to the consumer, is a producer in the case of e-waste rules. So you could be, somebody else could be contract packing for you, and you might be selling, putting your own brand and selling it out. Third definition says that offer to sell imported electronic items and their components in India. So you are generating e-waste in India. So even if you are importing, you are liable. And even if you are using use electrical electronic equipment, you are liable. This also means that there could be a full machinery that you might have imported, in which there are some electrical electronic items. For example, there is a panel, and you have imported some kind of a let's say some machinery, and machinery has a PLC panel. The PLC panel is electrical electronic component that has PLC and PCB and other parts, so it automatically falls under e-waste rules. Okay. So other than producer, there are three other stakeholders. There is a recycler, there is a refurbisher. The difference between recycler and refurbisher is recycler is the one who's finally recycling the material. So basically converting it into some useful item, or breaking it down to the element, atom, or the component like lead, lithium, or whatever. And refurbisher is the one who's enhancing life of the product. So basically doing something with the product in which the product is given back to the consumer, and used for some more time. So basically enhancing the life. For example, changing the, let's say, the Intel chip and making the laptop work again, whatever, adding or replacing RAM, ROM, memory card, whatever, right? There is also bulk consumer, which I already mentioned. You heard about manufacturer versus producer. So these are four basically: recycler, refurbisher, manufacturer, producer. These are the four main important stakeholders, and they are all mentioned here: manufacturer, producer, refurbisher, recycler. So they all have to register. All of them have to register. However, most important thing is the responsibility of target, of accomplishing the target, lies only in the hands of producer, because finally from the producer everything is going to the consumer. You can consider producer as the brand owner. In the case of plastic waste rules, it is easier to understand that way. So I'll just stop here. From the definition point of view, there are certain responsibilities of manufacturer and producer and recycler, refurbisher, and everything. Even bulk consumers have to register. You can see it here. But I will come to producer only, because only in case of producer you have to obtain, create, and execute your extended producer responsibility as per Schedule 3, in which a target will be generated basis your consumption and your life of the products and waste generated in each year. And against that, you will have to retrieve the electronic items of similar category, and demonstrate retrieval by submitting retrieval and recycling certificates. So the whole process is now certificate driven, and recycler is the one who generally generates the certificate by recycling, and the recycler can actually fund you or give you or sell you the certificate. So it's a transaction. Okay, so everyone has to register. This is important. Then there are responsibilities of other departments, municipalities, and all that. We are not going to that specifically. We are saying there is 180 days or 6 months of storage beyond which it is not permissible. It's something like hazardous waste. In the factory, you cannot store beyond a certain point in time. So those rules apply here also. There are certain chapters specifically for photovoltaic cells, PV panels, so which is right in front of you. And then the responsibility modalities and responsibilities are defined very clearly here. The extended producer responsibility of each product shall be decided on the basis of information by the producers on the portal. So you will put the product live, put how much product you produced in different years, and that will be converted into tons, and against that certain target will be applied, and that target is something you have to fulfill. So basically you can purchase a producer responsibility certificate, EPR certificate, from registered recyclers. So we are not one of the registered recyclers. We are a PRO. We are coordinating across all the recyclers across all the geographies in India. That is the help that we can do, because you will have to give plans according to different categories. As Yasin mentioned, there are 7 different categories, and 130 or 140 different subcategories. Okay, so certificate is generated basis certain calculation. We will not go into calculation right now, but it is safe to say that there is certain conversion factors for each type of material. For example, there, if you take a refrigerator, you don't have what the entire weight of the refrigerator is not the electronic weight. It could be the weight of mechanical items, the pump and the pipe and the sheet metal, aluminium, puff, panel, plastics, all that. But electronics will have certain conversion. So maybe let's say no 5%. So if you take a refrigerator, 5% of that will be considered as let's say the electronic component of it, and that is the certificate that will be generated. Again, we'll not go into so much of details here, but the idea is that there'll be a transaction of exchanging of extended producer responsibility certificates between the recycler and the producer, in which case there, no, we come in between and try to help you out. There is also a full declaration of ROHS, which is reduction in use of hazardous substances. There are three important substances, I think: lead, cadmium, and what is the other one? Mercury, I think. So lead, cadmium, and mercury, which you have to define how much is the total usage that you are doing, and other hazardous material, and then you have to demonstrate that you are within a safe range. At the same time, you are also making sure that you are reducing these hazardous materials over a period of time. Okay, one has to file an annual report after registration, after completion of transfer and completing your wallet transfers and making sure that you have finished your target. And then there is a after registration, and if you suppose you do not do it, there is an environmental compensation or penalty which is defined very clearly, something similar to plastic waste, that will fall in your lap. In case you do not register, it will fall with some extra compensations. In case you register and did not execute, there will be a compensation. For the years that you have not registered, there will be compensation. So the compensation is huge, and then there is a prosecution. It could lead to even stoppage of the plant. Now, there is a schedule 1, which already Yasin has mentioned to you. So there is first category is information technology and equipment, and these are subcategories of ITW 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. Then the second category is consumer electronics. Third category is large and small electronic equipment, which includes all the white goods that you use in the house. If they are not mentioned here, doesn't mean that they are not applicable. It is applicable. This is a small list which tells you that this is what it could be. So you have to choose your related item code. If suppose you don't call your air purifier as an air purifier, you call it as air filter, you might still want to say it is an indoor air purifier, and so it falls under LSEEW 30. Similarly, there are electrical electronic tools. All the tools are not mentioned here, but every tool has electronic components. Handhelds tools are having components, so you have to choose the relevant category. Toys, medical devices, and finally lab equipments. So this is the schedule 1 for choosing, and this is the ROHS list of mercury. As I mentioned, there has been certain requirements, and there is a limitation of how much mercury can be used for after certain number of years. I think 25 year 26 onwards, you can't use mercury, you can't use phosphor, and you can't use some of the other materials like lead. No, sorry, not lead totally. Lead can still be used, but mercury and phosphor and some of the other materials you cannot use. Cadmium again is considered a problematic what you call metal. So lead, you can see cadmium, lead all the way. And then there is a important schedule 3 is extremely important. You have to understand this schedule 3, and there is a presentation also has this particular slide. We'll go back to the presentation very quickly, but it says that, let's say in 23-24 this year, when you are registering, your product, let's say, has your product is having a life of X. So let's say if you have launched this product in 23-24, sorry, if for 23-24, your target will be, let's say the product life was 6 years. So you take the Y, which is the current year, which is 2023, minus 6 years, which means 2017. You will have to calculate, find out how much was the triple E placed in the market in 2017 and multiply that by 60%. That will become your target for 2023. Now, the same thing for next year will become 60% of, let's say, in 2024 for the 7 year. Again, so let's say 6 year. So this 6 is minus, no, it's subtracted from 2024, it becomes 2018. So 60% of 2018. Like that, no, the targets are going up a little bit. So you can see 60, 70, 80, and the years are going forward. This does not mean that you will the what happens to the balance 40%. So we're talking about that also, and we'll come to that in subsequent schedules. But this also doesn't mean that, suppose your company has started in 2023, that is this year, and the product has a life of let's say 4 years. So maybe when you go back 4 years in 2018, your company did not produce any of those products because the company did not exist. That means your target should be 0. Whereas there is some bit of target left for even those companies if they are starting in the year 23-24. So suppose your starting in the year 2021-22 and entering for EPR targets in 23-24, which is this year. So for this year, if the company had started in 21-22, you will have to take 15% of the sales figure. So basically, it means that even if the product life is 5 years, and by that year, 2018 or 2017, you did not have any footprint of your product, which would have expired by now, or which life would have expired by now, you still have to take care of 15% of your sales of 21-22, irrespective of the life of the product. This is an important information, because many people think that I have just started my company, I have not created enough waste in the market, the life of the product is still there, none of the product has failed. Many a times what happens is some of the product in the testing initial stages scrap in the factory. For that, this small percentage is given so that you start coming into the system, you fall into the bracket, you fall into the safety net. Okay. I will not take you further than this. This is the end of the entire program, the entire mandate, and no, I'll come back to the to this in terms of taking some questions at this point in time. If you have any questions, it will be very good to put them in the chat box or in the question answer session. And if there are already, then maybe I'll request Yasin to kind of let me know.
Yes, sir. Can you start with the question answer session, sir?
Yes, we will do that, and then we'll go back to the presentation for last 5 or 6 slides that you had.
Okay, sure, sir. We have a question from Yuvaraju S. The question is, if you are using all categories of e-waste with low number, does it fall under the e-waste rules?
Sorry, I did not understand the question.
So the question is, if you are using all the categories of e-waste, there are mainly 7 categories. So if you are having waste in all the categories, but the number of the quantity of e-waste is low, so do I fall under the e-waste rules?
So the e-waste rules does not say that up to this quantity, if you had, please register, and below this quantity you need not register. If you are e-waste, if you are a producer of triple E or importer of triple E, you have to register irrespective of the quantity. I hope I'm answering the question right. If you have any further questions, please put it in the chat box. Okay, next.
A question from Rahul Rajesh. IT companies which use racks are also come under the e-waste rules or not? The racks is specific to data center.
Yes, 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 yes. I can understand. So, you are a big consumer of electronics, triple E, and you're not producer and you're not supplier, you're not seller of the same. However, so therefore, the if you are not selling the racks, if you're not selling the servers, then you don't fall under the producer category. However, no, let me say this, that you have to register yourself as a bulk consumer. And I think, Yasin, would you like to show that quickly? The latest rule which has come for bulk consumers.
Yeah, sure, sir. Just give me a second.
So I think, Rahul, I have probably answered your question. You have asked specific to the data center also. Questionnaire not showing. Please, the next one person is talking
So
about.
the screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. The point number B, fourth one. EPR authorization is not applicable to consumers or bulk consumers if they import electrical and electronic equipment for self or captive use, provided that the bulk consumer submits self-declaration on stamp paper declaring that the triple E item being imported are intended for self or captive use and not for sale to customs port authorities.
Right. So basically, what we are trying to say in this is that you still have to declare, while you may not have any specific target for EPR registration and also for certification. Okay. Um,
So we have a question from Umesh Joshi. Is there a
okay.
timeline for registration and EPR compliance?
Sorry. Question is, what are the
Is
timelines?
there a is there a timeline for registration and EPR compliance?
I think the timeline is now, because I can see that the rule has come. So, in the case of plastic waste rules, they had given 1 quarter extension for registration. But in the case of e-waste, because the portal has become live only, I think, about 1.5 to 2 months ago. So it is still available in open. I would consider that October is the should be the end time. So we have September and October 2 months. I mean, I'm assuming this because of the way CPCB has handled the plastic waste in terms of timeline.
Sir, a question from Vijay Kumari. Does recycle registration is required in CPCB portal?
Yes, 100%. As I mentioned, that all four categories of stakeholders, four stakeholders have to register. So recyclers have to register. In fact, right now at this point in time, all our recyclers are registering. There is a very detailed registration requirement which is running to multiple screens and in the portal, because you have to register for each IEEW category in terms of capacity of how you can deal with that much. And so what are the equipment for each, and how is the layout for each different category. So it's a very detailed registration that is happening in the CPC portal already.
Okay, sir. A question from Harsh Dayal. Actually, we are into battery assembly. So want to know in which aspects we can file e-waste authorization. Do battery cells also fall under e-waste?
No, battery has a separate rule. Battery waste rules have also been published by CPCB, and we had a webinar on battery waste rules also. We can share the link, YouTube link of the webinar, so that you can go through the same. It's no, it's already loaded on the YouTube, so our YouTube channel has it. Maybe Yasin or Abhinav can just put it out there. Okay, I think there is a page for the same. You don't have to, if you are registering yourself as a battery assembler or battery producer, then you don't have to do for e-waste. However, along with battery, if you are selling something else, for example, you are selling some electronic items along with battery, like a controller or PLC or whatever, control unit, then you are also generating e-waste. If you are a pure battery manufacturer, supplier, brand owner, then you just have to stay with the battery waste rules.
It's a question from again a question from Umesh Joshi. We have around 12 sites in different states. Do we register differently for all units, or only one registration is required as plastic waste? As in the case of plastic waste, they have registered only for one certification, under one certification. But they're confused. They have 12 sites in different
Which
states.
company is this, Umesh? Can you declare your company? Can you mention your company in the chat box, or this? Can we open this webinar with so that people can ask questions also directly? Like, is it possible in the settings? Okay, view non-video participants, conserve bandwidth turn off video. I do not know how to do that. Maybe Abhinav knows it, but I'm sure there are settings available where people can ask questions. We can open up to for people to even ask questions directly. But for now, I think Umesh Joshi. Umesh, which company do you represent? Which you have 12 sites. I can't hear from him.
So it's Fleet Guard. The company's name is
Yes.
Fleet Guard.
Fleet Guard.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Fleet Guard.
So maybe we can have a separate one-to-one with Umesh for Yasin. We can do that. And I mean, my assumption is that it is all one common GST, one common CIN number, and it's only different manufacturing units. So in that case, you can definitely register only at one place for CPCB in CPCB portal, and multiple sites can be attached.
So we have a last question from Narayan Swami. We are disposing the screens to a CPCB registered e-waste disposal company. Is that enough to be compliant, or we need to do anything else to be compliant?
No, it depends on the product that you have, Narayan Swami. It depends on what are the product that you are making. So suppose you are not producing and selling any of electronic items or attaching it to your products, in which you are no not
Sir,
putting.
sorry to interrupt. Narayan Swami had an earlier question, so it's just a follow-up to that question. I'll repeat the earlier questions. So we, Times Innovative Media, are an outdoor advertising company, and we are end users of LED and LFD screens. We are using more than 1,000 units, and we have them for advertising space creation. Do we need to register?
I think you should, and you need to, because I see Times OOH, and even I see other organizations, competing organizations than yours, in displays in societies which have where Times OOH or that company's name is written on the LED screens, on the panels. So basically, it is your branded screen. You are procuring the screen, or somebody else is running the screen for you, but it is your brand which is going on the screen. So from that standpoint, you own, you are a brand owner who's procuring e-waste, procuring electronic items, and putting it in the consumer space. So from that standpoint, you should register. And
So I
Narayan
think
Swami, if
that's
you
it for
have
the question.
any more questions on that, you can please reach out to Yasin and we can do one-to-one. But from this point, I mean, I am seeing it within my own RWA within my own society, I'm seeing these display panels in which the names of that company is written very clearly. So if that is written, let's say if LG is written in front of my TV on my TV, then no, LG is responsible. It's like that. Okay. Any other?
We have answered all the questions.
Excellent. So I think that we can stop here. Do you want to share your last few slides, Yasin, or maybe I have covered it already in my detailed run through of the rules?
Yes, sir. You have covered all in the rules itself.
Excellent, excellent. So my request to the team here who's attending the webinar is, if you have questions, if you want more clarifications, you have Yasin's email ID. Yasin, if you could put it out again and in the chat box, and otherwise also you have our mail, from where the mail has come to you for inviting you to this webinar. You can respond to that mail, and from there we can pick it up and have a session with you. In case you need any help in terms of your registration, we can help you with. If you have EPR quantity targets that has to be achieved, we can help you with the same. So with that, I would like to stop here. Thank you very much for this short webinar that we had, and hoping that you guys got some clarification on the e-waste tools. Okay. Thanks, Yasin. Thanks, Abhinav, for setting it up. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.